Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to show you how I do my Bantu night outs. I've had a few people message me like, how do you get your hair like that? So I have washed and conditioned my hair and did my best attempt at blow drying it. You can see it's kind of straight. It's straight enough that I can style it, but it's not too straight because I'm about to add product to it and I don't need it to be silky straight. So I'm gonna just show you how I do a Bantu night out and how this style literally will last me like up to 2 weeks. So here we go. So you all know that I'm always talking about the LCO method because for me, my hair is I have a very dry hair. I think it's considered to be low porosity. And so when I add product, it just seems to always drink it up. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm using some of the creams that I have been formulating and I'm just going to try it. But what I do is, my hair has already been washed and conditioned. I've applied the Elixir all throughout my hair after I conditioned it, just to sort of trap in that moisture. So I'm gonna add just like a little bit more right now. And I usually will add it all the way around. And I especially try to focus on the ends of my hair so that, because you know your ends, they break easily. So I take a small section, let me show you. So let's see, so I'll probably take a section like this and I comb it through. Then I take a little cream. Now, like I said, I'm working on a cream that you all can use that I'm gonna have for sale soon, but this is just one of the formulations that I'm working on, and I just add like a little bit of cream because I keep this style in for like at least a week and I want it to stay moisturized, so I'll add a little bit of cream. And then the key for me is after I add the cream, I take a little bit of styling foam. Now this is just some foam that I happen to have. I went to a hair show and someone had it in a goodie bag. It's almost out, but let's see, let me get this down. So I add a little styling foam, just a little bit. So I take half of that amount and then I'm just going to, I take it and then I begin twisting. Now when I start my hair, I don't know if you can see this, hopefully you can, but I start I saturate that part of my hair and then I twist at the roots and I make sure that it's really straight. I hope you can see this. And then I just twist it all the way down to the ends. It's so important to make sure I have styling foam in the end of the product because I don't use hairpins to wrap the hair, to keep the hair wrapped around. So once I've gotten it and I've gotten all this tension in my hair, then I take it and I keep wrapping my fingers around it. And I'm gonna show you again when I get up to the front. But you can see the amount of tension that I have around it. So then I take it and it begins to form its own base. And I just wrap my hair around that base. And if I have a trouble getting it to wrap around, I just use my finger to hold it. And I try to maintain the tension that I already created. So I do this. And I just keep going and going and going. So hopefully you can see that. I'm gonna make sure I do the front too, but this is how I do it. I like to do this on wet hair. If that's what you want to do, that's totally fine. But for me, when I do these kind of styles on wet hair, the definition, my hair is like really fuzzy and the definition doesn't last. So I like to do it on kind of blown out stretched hair. If you want to use a blow dryer, you know, do it. You can blow dry your hair on cool. But for me, I am actually, you know, I use blow dryer. Some people like to do a twist out first, which will stretch their hair, and then they can, you know, do the styling. But I don't have time for a lot of times. So, okay. So last little section. We're gonna do these last two, and then we're gonna set it and forget it, and we're gonna come back, and it's gonna be done. To do that, you actually can just, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you real quick what you can do. Okay. So let's say that, you know how I do all that twisting, you find that really hard. Well, this is the last one, and then I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do. So after you've added a little cream to keep it moisturized, I still recommend twisting it like this, just if you like that coily effect, which comes out so pretty, and you're gonna see But if you don't, always make sure you have enough, have those ends coated so that, so listen, if you find this hard, like what I'm doing and wrapping it around and winding it, because what I'm doing is I'm just literally, like you see, and I'm doing it as tight as possible. And then it makes it so easy to create a knot. You see? You see? So, but if you find that difficult, then you can just make sure you at least get enough tension at the root. And then if you don't have all that tension wound up in your hair, just make sure you kind of twist the hair a little bit and then just do a regular, just wrap it around itself. Now, the fatter the hair is when you wrap it around, the less defined those curls are going to be. So that's why I always try to have it like very sleek and tight, almost like how do I describe that? Like coil, I don't know. And then I wrap it around my fingers, and then I go like this. And I just keep that tension. I keep it all the way to the end of the hair, and I wrap and I wrap and I wrap and I wrap. All right. So now, look, I probably have, I don't know how many I have, but the one thing that I always do before, like when I'm setting my hair and everything, now I'm gonna take some of the Elixir because I have really dry, itchy scalp, and I wanna make sure that I keep my hair and scalp moisturized until, I decide to rewash my hair and take this style down. So I'm taking some of the Elixir, putting just a little bit, and then I'm just going to oil my scalp basically. I'm just taking a little bit more. All right. And after I've added the Elixir, just rub it in. Now this next part is up to you. What I typically do is, if you're a G, and if you can handle it, I usually go to sleep and I keep my hair like this overnight. You need to make sure that you keep the Bantu knots in until they're completely dry. So at least 8 hours. 8 hours. Or you can sit underneath the dryer for about an hour. So I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna come back, and we're gonna take this out. Okay, so I'm back. I have slept on my Bantu knots, and I actually had them in all day because I didn't go anywhere. But usually I try to just take them out in the morning to get at least about 7 or 8 hours and let the hair dry. So now I'm gonna just show you kind of how I take them down and what that looks like. So I always start with a little bit of the VoiceOfHair PureFix Hair Elixir. I take a few drops. I don't like to waste any, so I just take half the dropper probably. And I love this oil because it does not make my hair feel heavy. And so what I do is, I'm gonna just show you. I'll do one here on the side. So I just start to unwind it in the opposite direction that I actually wrapped it in. And you can see how we wrapped with all that tension. Now we have like a little coil, but you also see like a little bit of straightness at the ends here. Well, I had some heat damage, and so sometimes my ends don't stay straight, but I'm gonna show you a little trick on how I actually camouflage that. So I ain't worried about that, not at all. Okay, so now we take some of the VoiceOfHair PureFix Hair Elixir and coat our hands with the oil so that we can separate those curls. We start to separate the curls so that we can get more volume in our hair. We want the hair to look as big and full as possible, but you can't do that with those curls being all tight together. So this is where I actually spend the bulk of my time, is when I separate the curls. But I do want you to keep in mind that as you separate those curls, you're going to likely see less defined curls. And it's okay. The whole style overall is still going to look good, but it's just those curls won't be as tightly defined as they were initially. So you do this all over, and you can see that my hair is actually starting to take shape and getting closer to the overall look that I'm going for.
And don't be shy about adding more of the oil as you continue the takedown around the rest of your head, because you really just want to make sure that your hands are coated, because you don't want your hair to be frizzy as you're separating those curls. So every now and then I kind of will stop and reapply the amount of oil to make sure that I have enough on my hands as I'm taking the rest of my hair out. So at this point, I start to take apart some of the sections in the back, and I realize, oh man, it's a little bit frizzy in some spots and it doesn't have the definition that I want. And that just happens sometimes, depending on the type of hair you have and also the textures. Like in the back of my hair, it's very kinky and coily, and so sometimes I don't get the definition that I'm looking for, but I'll show you kind of what I do. For me, the thing I really try to do is I just try to blend it in with the rest of my hair and make it just look full. So in the back, it might not have as much definition. In the front, it might be really defined. And so you can always just take a roller and sort of fix a few areas, but I'll show you exactly what I typically do. So for me, the goal of this style is just to have, kind of like a curly afro, some coils and curls all over, and just for it to kind of be full. So that is my goal. But, if you really like very nicely defined hair, make sure that you do smaller sections, and that probably will help avoid that problem. So at this point, it's kind of gotten the shape that I want. One thing I will say is that this style, for me, it gets better as the days go on. So initially it's very small and compact, and then as time goes over, it gets bigger, and you see me kind of pulling the hair out at the roots. I kind of just start to kind of pick it out at this point. I've gotten all my curls out, I've separated, and I can do a lot of different styles. I can pull it up, and I can, have some bangs and wear like a little fro hawk. I can wear like just a curly afro. I could try to pin it over to one side and sort of give myself a different look. And depending on the length of your hair, you might be able to do some more things. So it's really up to you, but this is what I like about it.
And then for me, like if I want to wear like a side part or something, then I do a part, and I might take some gel and gel my edges back. But that's this is it. This is how I get my look, and then I will move my hair around depending on what kind of look I'm going for. So if I just want like something fun and free, I'm gonna pick it out. I might separate these front curls a little bit more, but this is what I do. This is what I do. And I rearrange the curls in the way that I want them to go, but hope you can see that there's still quite a bit of definition, and then for the sides, if places where there's not as much definition, what I'll typically do is for the places where maybe like the curls aren't as close, or like let's say tomorrow when I wake up and it's still like this, I'll get a little bit of that foam, get a little bit more foam, styling foam, put a little bit on my fingers, put a little bit on my fingers, and then I'll take that hair and I'll just re-roll it. Like a small, or like one of these two sizes, and then I will just take it and I'm gonna roll it really small, put it on there, and let that sit in for a few minutes or something, and then by the time I take it out, it should be good to go. But yeah, first day hair is like always the tightest, but as time goes on, you're gonna see that like I love like 4, 5, and 6 day hair because it's like easy. But yeah, this is how I get my signature curly style, and I this up. And I really pump up the volume in my roots. And then I just pull it out to get the shape that I want. So I just do a lot of pulling, and yes. And then I might take.
So now let me show you. The only other thing I usually do is I'll take a section and kind of pull it back. I might add a little bit of gel along my edges and my hairline and just kind of put a bobby pin there, depending on the style I'm going for. And that is really how I get this overall look. So let me kind of show you overall what it looks like. Let me just turn around for you so you can see. Overall, this is the finished look, and I hope you enjoyed it.